Hey, what is up, guys? Today I want to go over what just happened with Dame Lillard and how he just got robbed big time. But before I dive into that, please consider subscribing and liking the video. I am focused on providing consistent NBA content on some of the stories the mainstream sports talk shows may not dive too deep into, so any of your support is greatly appreciated. So, Damian Lillard, a man who is carrying the Blazers to the fourth spot in the Western Conference, a man who is missing his starting center and starting his partner in crime, CJ, and a player who has continually delivered in the clutch night in and night out, was just snubbed as an all-star starter over Luka Doncic. And yes, Luka is of course a gifted athlete, and if his team was performing up to the level that many predicted they would be at this point in the season, I would have no issue with him getting the nod over Dame Lillard. You know, every time I tune in and see a Dame highlight, he's always doing whatever it takes to get his team to win. He's never looking for the spotlight. You never hear rumors of Dame trying to sneak out to LA or Miami. This is a guy who night in and night out does whatever it takes to win, and this season he has proved himself even more so to do that. Dame is scoring nearly 30 points every night. He's facilitating the ball, nearly 8 assists per game. His team is also on a 6-game win streak at the moment, even defeating Luka and the Mavs recently. And I know that Dame is the real deal. This team around him hasn't always been the best, but even with the depleted roster this season, he's shown that he is a true superstar in the league and worthy of an all-star starter spot. And when it matters most, Dame delivers in the clutch. Lillard this season alone has scored over 80 points in crunch time and shooting around 63% in the final moments of every close game. This is a guy who should be in the top 5 of the MVP conversation with the load he's had to carry this year, but he's not getting the recognition that he truly deserves. You know, maybe it's because he plays in Portland, maybe it's because his games are usually on later in the day since he's on the West Coast, but there is no denying how good this guy is. And I wholeheartedly trust Dame to deliver in the clutch. But I feel his team does have a lot of work to do in order to get over the hump and show they can be true contenders in the Western Conference. His team has mostly been bounced in the first round, with a lone Western Conference Finals appearance where they got swept by the Warriors. But so far, the season's been working out, even with Nurkic and CJ McCollum being out. I'm glad to see Melo having a bit of a resurgence with the Blazers, who's shown glimpses of the old Melo, where he can drop over 20 points a night on occasion. But, you know, being a fan of a small market team, sometimes you get your feelings hurt a little bit. Maybe you want that recognition that LeBron or KD and their teams get, but there is something special and different about your loyalty to a team that isn't talked about enough. The fans are even more loyal, and players like Dame will probably get statues outside their arenas for the loyalty they've shown to their organizations. And I believe that loyalty to an organization is much more admirable than just being a ring chaser. I'm not too sure how far the Blazers can go this year, but if they can get home court advantage in the first round, that would be the aspiration I'm sure they're aiming for. Dame has been around since 2012 and has steadily increased his points per game from 19 points per game during his rookie year to nearly about 30 points now. But I'm sure a lot of that has to do with CJ not being in the lineup. I believe the LA teams, the Jazz and Nuggets, are the top 4 contenders in the Western Conference this season. But Dame definitely has the mindset and drive to prove others wrong, and you should definitely not sleep on this team when it comes to playoff time, especially if they get back a healthy CJ and Nurkic in the lineup. The last thing I wanted to touch on is, of course, Luka is still having an excellent season. I mean, he's averaging nearly a triple-double. But the issue is not Luka individually, it's just been his team struggles. And, you know, it hasn't all been his fault. The Mavs have gone through it with contact tracing and injuries they've had to deal with. But the NBA fan votes for the All-Star team, and sometimes they don't take that into consideration, to say the least. Either way, Dame is a lock for the Western reserves, and I hope more people start recognizing how good of a player Dame is, and how lucky the Blazers are to have a loyal guy who's doing all he can to win these games night in and night out. But anyway, I appreciate you guys listening to me rant a bit about Dame tonight. Let me know in the comments section if you agree Dame should get the start over Luka. But until next time, peace.